Hello everyone! I'm Grim, a freelance illustrator, and this week we're going to do more lore. But this time, it'll be about my Zelda OC, Arche, a GERUDO archaeologist. While a Speedpaint plays, I'm going to introduce him to you and answer a few questions about him from my patrons. So I hope you enjoy. Oh, and as a quick heads up, I have not finished Tears of the Kingdom, so be nice in the comments. A lot of this lore is centered on Breath of the Wild and was made when the only thing we had about Tears of the Kingdom was the initial teaser trailer. So, I'm not up on my Zelda lore, be nice. Arche was born a Vo, which in Zelda lore usually means being the reincarnation of the great and terrible Ganondorf. To anyone who's not a GERUDO, which that sort of complicates just existing. Anyway, in order to make living everyday life easier, Arche spends much of his time disguised as a Vi, though he uses any pronouns when disguised and simply doesn't bother correcting people when it isn't needed. Arche's archaeological studies have led him to specialize in studying the ruins of Hyrule, and he has theories about the ruins possibly hinting about some sort of sky-based Hylian civilization, which folks who are into Zelda theories would know that ends up being Skyloft. Additionally, in some of his lore, like a bit of an alternate universe, where Ganondorf gets to be a normal king of the Gerudo, a la the webcomic Growing Up Gerudo, Arche maybe has a massive crush on his king. It's fine though. he'll just ignore it forever because he's not good enough. Arche also has some minor magical abilities with an affinity for water. He's able to manipulate small amounts that are already present, such as its temperature and a little bit of movement. If he tries to use these abilities without water present, it can dehydrate him because it uses the water in his own body otherwise. Additionally, once per day, Shay can momentarily transform part of his body, one limb or torso, to water, allowing attacks to pass through it or to get through small spaces. However, if the limb cannot reform correctly, it will harm Shay appropriately. So, that mortifying information about Shay's powers aside, let's answer some questions from patrons! Thank you so much to all of you for helping out with this video on short notice. I had to pick and choose the stuff that was submitted for the scope of this video, although you guys can all pester me after the fact if you would like the answers still. From Autumn, what originally inspired you to create Arche? So Arche is basically just a self-insert OC, not necessarily of myself, but all of my favorite things in Zelda, especially Breath of the Wild, which I spent months in high school just playing the hell out of, and I rebought it for the Switch in college because I couldn't take the Wii U with me, just so that I could explore that version of Hyrule again. Just running around in that game is a super relaxing pastime for me, and I always just wanted to imagine life as one of the NPCs. And, well, Ganondorf is my favorite character in the series, Urbosa is my favorite champion, Lightning Blight Ganon is cool, and every one of my favorite parts of Breath of the Wild that weren't exploring or Prince Sidon were the Gerudo, so I made an OC that fits with that part of the setting. I also have a fondness for Zelda theory videos, so I've made Arche into archaeology so that he can have all of the same fun theories that we have about Breath of the Wild's ruins. From Link, what is the most intense thing Arche has been battling with? So Arche is cursed. He doesn't exactly know why. It might have something to do with a drawback of having been granted his magic, but that is something that he wants to eventually find out. The curse basically entails being haunted by Pose, which meddle with him when he attempts to do anything at night, and sometimes meddle in his dreams as well. This has led to Arche being generally afraid of nighttime and sleeping in general, so Despite how nice and upbeat he can be personality-wise, there are definitely some days where he wakes up completely exhausted because he barely got any sleep. From Satin K, what sparked Arche's interest in archaeology? So I think Arche started studying archaeology because of his love of travel and as a general escape from GERUDO society. You know, not strictly heterosexual bachelor he is and all that, but he does genuinely enjoy archaeology. He's quite curious, and as I sort of alluded to earlier, he feels like there might be an answer to his curse out there somewhere. So, combination of just enjoying it and getting to escape everyday stresses and also maybe answering some mysteries about himself. And that's Arche. Thank you for sticking around to listen to me ramble about my silly little Zelda OC for a little bit. And again, a huge thank you to my patrons who submitted questions for this video. While I'm not strictly tying these videos to my Patreon yet, as I'm still experimenting with them, if you want to support my art and occasionally get tapped to be involved in projects like this, consider pledging over there. I am trying to make art a sustainable thing for me to do for a living so that my partner and I can eventually afford our own place. And you'll be able to download this art over there as well as get a lot of other perks like reading my webcomic early. However, back to the video at hand, thank you again for watching, and don't forget, if you want to chat about Arche or anything else I've made in these videos, you can comment down below, or you can join the Discord, because there's lots of cool OC havers in Drop Zone. Anyway, I'll see you all next week with whatever I decide to make next. We'll figure it out. Bye-bye!